and welcome to this FPL Game Week 12 team selection video with me, Holly Shand. It's fair to say that the last game week in FPL was an absolute stinker, particularly for my team, so I'm not thrilled to be recording this video today, but I'm going to stay consistent with the content. I will be answering all comments on this video though. Remember to like and subscribe. Let's get this one up to 500 likes to cheer me up. Let's get into it. Starting off then with how my game week 11 went, pretty shocking. I had 5 players that went off injured, which is just ridiculous. 4 of them before half time. I had 1 player that only appeared as a substitute, 1 player that decided to actually give me some sort of return, blanks elsewhere, and a 9-pointer from Archer on the bench. So I've ended up on 18 points, a game week rank almost at 10 million. It's been pretty shocking. I guess the saving grace is that it was a good week to have a bad week, because while my ranks dropped from 175k to 350k, it's not an absolute disaster. I'll absolutely take that after what's been a disastrous week. Luckily, I've got 2 free transfers going into game week 12, and I'm going to need them because now I've got 7 players flagged, including 4 of my defenders. So it's an absolute nightmare to know where to go from here. Simicast, he looks like he's lost his place now. I'll be lucky to get 3 defenders out for next week. Diaby and Watkins both blanked against Forest, which was a surprise. Nothing from Salah either. Son had his back against the wall with Spurs down to 9 men. Hopefully he can bounce back next week. And Haaland, we just don't know about his availability at the moment, which is a frustrating one. A reminder that we've got 8 Premier League teams in European action this midweek in the Champions League, Europa League and UEFA Conference League. So this week, more than ever, try and hold on to those transfers and don't make them until Friday night or Saturday morning, where we've got an absolutely full picture on player availability. Now, I'm not expecting vast updates from managers on those injured players, but one thing that will help us is that it's the international break after game week 12. So we will get to know whether certain players are in those international squads. Is Haaland joining up with the Norway squad? Is Cash travelling with Poland? Is Maddison in the England squad? This is going to give us vital clues on whether these players are going to be available in game week 12 or not. So try and stay patient if you can, unless you've got those exact funds. And of course, I'm hoping not, given the amount of injuries as I've already got in my squad, but more injuries could crop up midweek, which would make the situation even worse. I'm going into game week 12 then with 2 free transfers, nothing in the bank. I already had a loose idea to get Saka in, but it wasn't going to be easy. However, I think the knock for Maddison may just persuade me that it's the right thing to do now, because while I wanted to stay loyal to Maddison, who I've had all season, I think given the situation at Spurs now, given that implosion against Chelsea, the number of injuries they've got in the defence now, you've got Udogie and Romero both out suspended. You've got Van de Ven went off with a knock as well. I feel like having just one Spurs midfielder right now is fine, especially because after the break they've got Villa at home, City away, West Ham at home, Newcastle at home in their 4 beyond that. So I am looking to do Maddison to Saka this week. The thing that was putting me off making the move before was that I was likely going to have to make 2 defensive transfers, swapping budget defenders for other budget defenders to make the money work, because I need to get 0.8 million to make it work. However, given that Burn and Botman are now out for a sustained amount of time, I think I can justify the moves. Now, I've had a look at where I could go. I'd like to get in a Palace defender, but I just feel like they're a little bit too expensive. I feel like the solution could be right under my nose, and that is staying with Newcastle investment and going with the replacements. Now, obviously, I need to monitor this in the Champions League midweek. I'm recording this video on Tuesday morning. Newcastle are to play Dortmund, but I'm imagining that Trippier will move to the left flank, which will mean Livramento will start at right back and Lascelles will remain deputising for Botman in the centre-back position, and he's done very well. 3 clean sheets in 5 since Lascelles has moved into the back line, and I do feel like Newcastle's underlying defensive numbers are really strong right now, and I think even with the injury to Burn as well, I still think there's plenty of potential for their defence. Obviously this week they've got Bournemouth away. Bournemouth aren't scoring goals this season. Chelsea at home, United at home. I think those fixtures are absolutely fine given their home form. And then Everton away. Now, I've got exact funds to make these moves at the minute, which is a bit of a concern. Maddison, I can't afford another price drop on him. I can afford a price drop on Botman and Burn though. So I think I'm just going to have to cross my fingers and hope they're available. But there is George Baldock at Sheffield United, who could be an option. I could change things around a little bit. I could go for an Everton defender. I could go for a Palace defender. So we'll see what happens. There are other names in the frame, but with the exact moves, that's the move that I'm looking to make for a -4, which should hopefully help me get 11 players out going into game week 12. Looking at how my team may line up then for game week 12. Obviously, Flecken went off injured in game week 11. He's got Liverpool away this week anyway. The plan was always to play Areola at home to Nottingham Forest. Just the 1 clean sheet from him this season. Hopefully that improves this week. And then the back line. And the issue here is that Tsimikas found himself benched last weekend. Obviously, I'll keep an eye on his minutes in the Europa League on Thursday. But I'm tempted to bench him and play my other defenders, which should be Cash, Lascelles and Livramento. Burke is out for United away, I should imagine. And even though I think Tsimikas has maybe got a higher ceiling than some of the other players, I do fear his 1-pointer. I feel like Cash has a good chance of still being available for game week 12. So that's something that I need to keep an eye on. But I've got Tsimikas there. If Cash was to miss out, at least he'd probably going to come on for a 1-pointer. It's not ideal, but I don't want to take any more than a -4 hit, especially if we get news that Cash is maybe only out for the short term. The midfield picks itself. We've got Salah at home to Brentford, Son with Wolves away, Saka's got Burnley at home, Diaby Fulham at home, and Bomo Liverpool away. Not a bad set of fixtures there for the midfield. No fitness concerns as things stand. And then up front, it's going to be Haaland for Chelsea away, Watkins for Fulham at home. And again, I've got Archer on my bench for Brighton away, providing me with cover if Haaland or anyone else from my attack was to miss out this week. But fingers crossed, this is the limit to the injuries right now. Now, when it comes to captaincy this week, it's a difficult decision to make. I think if Haaland was involved in the Champions League midweek, I would consider him as an option for Chelsea away. But I think the stronger fixtures in my squad are in the midfield. I don't really want to go with Watkins as captain just because of a little dip in form in the last couple of games, which could impact his confidence. Plus, he doesn't have as many routes to points as some of the other players because he's not on set pieces and penalties. Son, the away game at Wolves, I don't think is as easy as it looks, and especially after that disastrous performance on Monday night with key personnel potentially missing, I don't think Son is the right candidate for the captaincy. So for me, it's between Salah and Saka. Now, Saka's got the better fixture, Burnley at home. Saka with Brentford at home, though, is still a decent game for him as well. A lot could depend on which of these players gets the most minutes midweek. We know that Saka's kind of injury issues are still a little bit ongoing. He's not absolutely nailed down on penalties as well. So Salah's potentially the safer pick for Brentford at home, especially if Brentford are missing Flecken. But I do think that Saka is the one that's the most appealing to me right now. So unless something puts me off Saka in the midweek, if he got a lot of minutes in the Champions League versus Salah in the Europa League, I'm probably going to go Saka captain, Salah vice. But I would like to see Odegaard back for Arsenal as well, which I think would just strengthen their attack. So there's a few kind of dynamics here at the moment. I'm not absolutely certain to lock in my captaincy right now. Obviously, I'll update later in the week, but that's my thoughts at the moment. Now, hopefully your team isn't in as bad a shape as mine, but again, as I mentioned at the start, I will be answering all comments on this video, so get your dilemmas below and hopefully we can help each other towards a better FPL game week. Remember to like and subscribe as well. I'm aiming for 500 likes on this video. Thank you for watching.